I remember the first time I truly understood the market. It was a moment that changed everything for me. And honestly, it still gives me chills every time I think about it. In this game, there's no magic. There's no secret formula. What there is, though, is a mindset, a way of thinking that allows you to spot winning trades before anyone else even knows they exist. When I look back at my life as a trader, I see how it all boils down to one thing: patience. Patience is the key. And if you can learn to spot the right trades, with discipline and an unshakable understanding of market psychology, you can beat the crowd. You can be the one who capitalizes on those moments before they're gone, long before the masses catch on. Now, I've had my fair share of mistakes, and I've learned that the market will teach you lessons often the hard way. The difference between a successful trader and one who fades into obscurity is the ability to take those lessons and apply them with wisdom. What I'm about to share with you isn't just theory, it's practical. It's the blueprint I followed to spot the big opportunities. I'm talking about how to get ahead of the crowd, how to understand the market's pulse, and how to position yourself to strike when others are too hesitant to act. First, let me tell you this: the market speaks to you, but you've got to listen. Too many traders try to outsmart the market, try to predict the future based on some complex indicator or pattern. But the market doesn't care about your predictions. The market only cares about what is happening now. The trick is to understand the subtle signals, the nuances of price action that tell you when the crowd is getting ready to move, and most importantly, to be ready to act before they do. When I was at my best, I didn't rely on anyone else to tell me when to buy or sell. I didn't wait for a signal or a confirmation. I watched the ticker, I studied the charts, and I felt the rhythm of the market in my gut. It's a sensation that comes from years of practice, years of learning to trust yourself above all else. But it's also a learned skill. There's a certain calmness that comes over you when you've been in the game long enough to know that the best trades don't come from chasing after trends. They come from waiting, from observing, from reading the market like a book and knowing when to make your move. Now, let me break it down a bit. The first thing you need to understand is the concept of market psychology. This is what drives everything: the rise and fall of stocks, the ebb and flow of the market. The people who make the money, the ones who spot the winning trades, are the ones who understand the psychology behind it all. When you know how the crowd is thinking, how the masses react to certain events, you can start to position yourself where the market is going, not where it is right now. You see, the market is full of emotion. Fear, greed, uncertainty, hope, they all play a role. And when the crowd gets caught up in those emotions, that's when the real money is made. You have to be able to stand apart from the noise, to have the discipline to wait for the right moment. There's a certain beauty in seeing the market for what it truly is, a reflection of human emotions. When you understand that, you can begin to anticipate where the market is heading next. But it's not just about reading emotions. It's about timing. Timing is everything, and timing comes from experience. The more you immerse yourself in the market, the more you begin to see the same patterns emerging, over and over again. You begin to spot those fleeting moments when the market is ready to take off, when it's ready to make its big move. It's those moments that separate the winners from the losers. It's those moments that you need to be prepared for. I've spent years developing my trading strategies, testing them, refining them. But no matter how much you practice, there's always an element of risk. You can never eliminate risk entirely, but you can learn to manage it. Risk management is crucial to success in the market. Without discipline and a clear understanding of how much you're willing to lose, you're just gambling. It's not enough to just make a trade, you have to manage the trade too. Every successful trade begins with a plan. You have to know your entry point, your exit point, and your stop loss before you even place a single order. If you don't, you're just reacting to the market instead of leading it. You have to approach trading like a professional, careful, calculated, and disciplined. But let me tell you something. It's more than just numbers and formulas. It's about having a feel for the market. A good trader, one who spots the big trades, can feel when something is about to happen. It's the market's rhythm. And, like anything else, rhythm can be learned. That's what I mean when I say experience matters. You can't just sit around and expect to catch the big moves right away. No, you have to be out there, watching, learning, adapting. You have to see the patterns form, sometimes before they even fully emerge. I can tell you this: the best trades don't happen when everything looks perfect. In fact, the perfect setup usually comes after the market has already made a big move, and that's when most people jump in too late. What I've learned is to look for the times when the market is quietly setting up, when it's almost invisible to the untrained eye. These are the moments where you need to be prepared. This is when the real money is made. Timing is an art, not a science. I used to get frustrated by how often the market didn't make sense. But over time, I learned to stop chasing after perfect setups and instead focused on the imperfect, the messy, the opportunities hidden behind noise. That's where you'll find the biggest gains. These are the trades that aren't obvious to everyone else, the ones that take patience to recognize. And once you do, once you spot that setup, you must act with conviction. The key to understanding when to enter a trade is understanding the balance between momentum and pullback. The market is constantly in a state of flux, constantly moving between periods of momentum and corrections. The trick is knowing when the momentum is ready to pick up again, and when the correction is just a temporary pause before the next leg up. If you can master this, if you can understand the shifting balance, then you can time your entries with precision. You won't be caught on the wrong side of the trade, but more importantly, you won't miss out when the market moves in your favor. Now, let's talk about risk. One of the hardest things to learn as a trader is how to deal with losses. I've had my fair share of big losses. There were days when I thought the market had taken everything from me. But what I learned over the years is that losses are part of the game. The key is to limit them. When you can manage your losses, and when you know how to cut your losses short, you will give yourself the chance to make the big wins. Risk management comes down to one simple rule: never risk more than you're willing to lose. And I mean that in every trade, in every moment. You have to set your stop losses and stick to them, no matter what. It's easy to get emotional when the market moves against you. It's easy to convince yourself that things will turn around. But that's when the big mistakes happen. The market doesn't care about your emotions. The market doesn't care about your hope. It only cares about price action. And if the price is going against you, it's time to cut your losses and walk away. One of the most powerful things you can do as a trader is develop the discipline to walk away from a bad trade. Most traders stay in because they're afraid of losing. They're afraid of admitting they were wrong. But the real power comes when you can say, "I was wrong," and move on quickly. I've walked away from bad trades countless times, and those moments were the ones that allowed me to stay in the game long enough to find the big opportunities. It's also important to understand the concept of position sizing. Too many traders make the mistake of risking too much on one trade, trying to hit a home run. But if you're wrong, you can wipe out your entire account. The key is to risk only a small percentage of your total capital on any single trade. This way, even if you're wrong, you'll still be in the game. You'll still have the ability to make the next trade, the next big win, and the next opportunity. As you continue to practice and refine your strategies, you'll find that you start to see opportunities where others see uncertainty. You'll spot those trades before they become obvious to everyone else. And when you do, you'll know exactly what to do. You'll have the discipline to pull the trigger, the patience to wait for the right moment, and the risk management skills to protect yourself when things don't go as planned. The real beauty of trading, the reason it excites me every day, is the constant challenge. The market is always changing, always evolving. And when you learn to adapt with it, when you learn to spot the right trades, you'll find yourself ahead of the pack. You'll see those winning trades before they become obvious to the crowd, and when they do, you'll be the one capitalizing on them. That's what it's all about. The market doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your hopes. It doesn't care if you've been trading for 1 year or 50. It only cares about your ability to execute, to make decisions based on cold, hard facts. and the discipline to stick to your plan. This is where most traders fail. They get caught up in the emotions of the game. They let their hopes, their fear, their egos, and their impatience dictate their actions. But if you want to truly succeed in this market, if you want to be the one who spots the big trades before anyone else even knows they exist, you have to master one thing: your mindset. I can tell you from experience that the biggest battle in trading is not with the market, it's with yourself. Your ability to stay calm under pressure, to control your emotions, and to stick to your plan when everything around you is chaotic is what separates the successful traders from the ones who eventually burn out. There were countless times when I saw others make impulsive decisions, chasing after a hot tip, acting out of fear, or making bets that had no basis in logic. It always ended the same way, with them losing everything. Trading is a battle of psychology. The market is full of noise, full of distractions, full of emotions. You've got to be able to separate yourself from that. You've got to train yourself to think clearly, to block out the distractions, and to focus on what's important. It's not about getting lucky or trying to time the market perfectly. It's about having the mental strength to make the right decision at the right time, even when the market is pushing you to do the opposite. Here's something I learned. Confidence is key, but it's not the kind of confidence that comes from thinking you're invincible. It's the kind of confidence that comes from knowing that you have a plan, that you've done your research, and that you understand the risks. When you have that kind of confidence, you can stick to your plan even when everyone around you is panicking. And that's when the best opportunities arise, when others are too afraid to act, and you know that the time to strike is now. But confidence isn't enough on its own. You've got to have discipline. Discipline is what keeps you from chasing after every shiny object. It's what prevents you from overtrading or risking too much on one position. Discipline is the ability to stick to your plan, to wait for the right setup, and to execute without hesitation when the moment comes. Without discipline, you're just gambling. And gambling, as you know, has a way of catching up with you. Another key element of the trader's mindset is patience. The market rewards the patient trader. Too many people jump in too early, chasing after the next big move without understanding what's happening beneath the surface. But the real money is made by the patient ones, the ones who wait for the right opportunities, the ones who are willing to let the market come to them. Patience is hard, especially in a world where everything is moving at lightning speed. But I can tell you from experience, the longer you wait for the right setup, the greater your reward will be. One of the most powerful lessons I ever learned was to never let greed cloud your judgment. Greed is the enemy of every trader. It's the driving force behind every impulsive decision, every reckless trade. Greed makes you chase after profits, even when the risk doesn't justify the reward. It's what keeps you in bad trades for too long, hoping that things will turn around. And it's what leads to the downfall of so many traders. I had to learn to manage my own greed, and the way I did that was by focusing on risk management, by understanding that I couldn't win every trade. What I could do was limit my losses and let my winners run. When I learned to do that, I began to see the market differently. I stopped chasing after every trade, and instead, I focused on the trades that had the highest probability of success. And when I found those, I let them play out, knowing that my patience and discipline would eventually pay off. Now, I know it's not easy. I know there will be times when you'll question yourself, when you'll wonder if you've missed the big move, or when you'll be tempted to jump in just because everyone else is. But remember this, the market is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's about making the right moves at the right time, and then letting the market work in your favor. The key is to trust yourself, trust your strategy, and trust the process. This is the mentality that allowed me to make millions. And it's the same mentality that can allow you to succeed in the market too. But it takes time. It takes discipline. And it takes the willingness to learn from every mistake and keep moving forward. The market will always be there. And if you can develop the right mindset, if you can spot those winning trades before anyone else, you'll be the one reaping the rewards. Before you go, I want to remind you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think. What strategies do you use to spot winning trades? I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to dive even deeper into mastering the market, be sure to check out our new ebook, Thinking Like Jesse Livermore, Mastering the Market with Discipline, Patience, and Risk. You'll find a link in the description below. Trust me, it's packed with insights that will change the way you approach trading forever. Thank you for watching. And remember, it's not just about making trades, it's about making the right trades at the right time.